Welcome to this week's Spinfoil Theory. We're about to take a dive into another mystery from the lore of Destiny the game. Specifically, we'll be giving high-level scrutiny to popular, emerging, and outlying theories, then judging them. If you have any questions or theories of your own, write to us at spinfoiltheory@gmail.com or visit us over at spinfoiltheory.com. And now, let's put on our spinfoil hats and get a little crazy. Here comes this week's show. We're live.
Are you sure? I don't know about that.
I mean, I hope I'm alive. I might be...
Are you sure you're not a headless
one? No, I have
one?
a head.
Ooh.
Yes, I have head, am confirming.
Well, I don't know. I mean, sometimes I've inspected your guardian and you don't have a head, so... Maybe we're the headless ones.
Ooh. Maybe the real headless ones are the friends you make along the way.
No, please, not again. No.
No one ever talks about that journey.
Oh no.
So, welcome to the Spinfoil Theory podcast, everyone. This is your host, Taylor-B, and your host, LadyLucida. How are you doing, Lucy?
I'm doing pretty good. How about yourself?
I'm well. I just had a real busy, week and a half, 2 weeks, pretty much at work, and I have some help now. Things are on the downturn.
That's good.
I was supposed to go to New York, as you know, and that trip got canceled. But you know what? I'm cool not traveling. I'm cool just hanging out for a little bit because I am up for my booster shot. So I figure, good opportunity to go get that instead.
You know what? That works.
Yeah.
It's all good.
Yes. So work out, silver linings. But yeah, this week, everyone, we are going to talk about and debunk some potential red herrings on the Festival of the Lost. Specifically, we'll also be talking about not only some dialogue that you'll get in game right now, but we'll also be talking about the Tales of the Forgotten, the new, pretty impressively sized lore book, 27 entries.
Yep.
That come along as part of the quest and things you can turn in to Ava, those pages after you do the activity that you collect.
Yep.
And collect them that way. And the price jumps so dramatically. It's like 1, oh, okay, 3, this is for 5, okay, and then I got through the 5s and I realized the rest of them were 9.
Yeah.
I was like, that escalated quickly. What happened to 6?
It's a lot. It's a lot. And,
yeah.
There was a really good farming method, but Bungie patched it because they hate people having fun. Because basically what I was doing is I would do a Wrathborn hunt, and there was this cheese that everyone's done. At least, not everyone, but a lot of people have done. Where once you load into the thing, you abandon the hunt in your little cryptolith thing, and then you complete the activity, and you haven't wasted a charge, but it still counts as a activity completion, which would then get you, whatever you're looking for. That's how I would try and get the ship for the High Celebrant mission. Because you could only do that mission once a week per character, so
right.
It was really annoying to do the mission 3 times and not get the ship. But
ooh, yeah.
I have the ship now, so I don't really care. But yeah, that's basically what I was doing to get my pages, and I got about halfway through a good 2/3, halfway, an amount through the book. And then my plan was to, get back on today and finish it out, be done, don't really have to worry about it because I'm moving on top of everything else. So I'm just I don't really have time to do this, but I have to have every single lore entry in the game. I'm kind of insane. So, yeah. Now I'm annoyed because I'm going to have to get pages by doing strikes or whatever's the best method.
Gambit yeah.
No, don't tell me to do Gambit. I already have to.
Well, you don't have to do Gambit.
Yes, I do. Options. I have to do Gambit anyways.
You have to do Gambit.
Well, no, I have to do Gambit to get my stupid 2 resets for the rocket launcher skin.
Oh, yeah.
Because remember, I
Right,
wasn't
right,
here
right,
the
right.
first time there was double infamy. I was on vacation. So
Right.
now I'm just
I
crying.
missed the first week too, I think.
I'm just
I got
crying
hit with
because it's so
borrowing.
much. It's so much. Bungie, please. At least there shouldn't be anything. Biscuits. That means I'm gonna. Biscuits. Well, okay. I have a plan. I have a plan.
I've got a plan.
Yes, that's me. I've got a plan. I've always got plans, and I've got plans. I got backup plans upon backup plans. But anyways,
Nice.
I don't know. I'm just annoyed at
Nice. You
Bungie.
can be official plan maker
I am.
of the Spinfoil Theory podcast, I think.
I think I already am. No, I'm kidding. It's a joke.
But it's official.
Ooh, fancy, fancy. Official.
Now we both agree.
Yay.
So,
That's good, that's good. But yeah, basically the TLDR of Tales of the Forgotten is about our good buddy Glint. Because if you guys haven't done the story for as much as you can do currently, after last week, or I guess, is it last week or was it week before? I don't remember.
Week before, I want to say?
Yeah, basically,
Reset before last.
reset
at the time
before
of this
last,
recording.
Savathun did her whole, I'm gonna show Crow the truth. And then Crow has kind of a mental breakdown because he's like, okay, who am I? Am I Aldrin? Am I Crow? What? Oh my god. All these things in my head. What's happening? So Ikora sent Crow to go help Lord Saladin and be kind of a liaison between the humanity, the last city, and the Cabal. Because the Cabal's first inclination when they heard Savathun was in the Dreaming City, they're like, alright, we got nukes. We're gonna shoot the Dreaming City and kill everyone, including Savathun. And like
Guys, got
Zavala
this.
was asked, okay, what's your verdict? What do you think of this? And he literally just said, no. And they're like, but Savathun's right there. And he's like, no. Good day. And he just leaves.
I believe I said good day.
Pretty much. But, so basically, because the Cabal are in this kind of stalemate, they're like fighting off Zivurat's hive while we're gonna basically exercise Savathun's worm. I think next week, with the announce of the legendary astral alignment. I think it's gonna be next week. That's my guess.
Ooh.
Which is very, very exciting. Hopefully we get some cool cutscene. Or something. Kind of like Season of the Splicer. With how,
Yeah.
you did the Save the Last City thing, and then Alakablan, there was a super cool cutscene. That's what I'm excited for. If that's what happens. But we'll just have to wait and see. But basically, now Crow is helping Saladin, which I think is really nice that they actually are going to kind of... I know they kind of started in Season of the Chosen kind of on the wrong footing, I think, because Saladin was, I'm mean and traumatized with PTSD and hate everyone. And then you have Crow, who's all like, we can try and be friends with people. And then...
I was really hoping you were going to go with,
Yes,
I'm
well, he's
broody,
not-
angry, risen,
He's not
who doesn't
that
know
brooding.
why.
He's a little bit brooding, but he's gotten better.
He's gotten a lot better. But like that first one, I thought he was about to sing a Nemo song.
Maybe we'll get Destiny the musical.
That first,
Destiny
well, I
the
think,
musical.
maybe now again.
There we go.
Destiny the musical. I still say
my
they need
God.
to make the Savathun musical when she
Yes,
sings
that
to
would
get
be
out of every
funny.
situation.
But yeah, so Crow is now hanging out with Saladin, and Glint is like, well, since you're here, can I go do other stuff? And Crow's like, what do you... What do you mean, man? You can't leave. And Glint's like, you'll be fine here. The Cabal aren't gonna do anything. Cabal's our friends. And I'm like, please don't be foreshadowing that something bad is gonna happen to Crow. Please, Bungie. No. He's too pure. So Glint is like, I'm gonna go, don't worry, I'm gonna be with the Guardian. Everything's gonna be fine, and we're gonna go hunt the Headless Ones. And Crow's just like, oh, you mean your whole weird pumpkin thing? Okay, sure, whatever, do it. I don't care. I don't even know anymore.
Yes, I do.
But I just think it's so funny, because And then basically that's the intro of the book is basically that. And then after that, it's basically going around the solar system saying, hey, have you seen any headless ones? Blink. Blink. Like it's an episode of Dora the Explorer or something.
Right.
It's really quite funny, though, because there's a part where he basically goes to
I like that.
Europa, the moon, Nessus. I think that's the three places where the lost sectors are. And he goes around, he talks to people. And in one of the entries, he talks to the Scriptarch. And it's so funny. Because, hold on, let me find the entry. I had it open, and then it was gone, and now I'm sad. God damn it.
Oh no.
No. Oh yeah, there's the moon one. Yeah, it's moon. I forget there's 4 lost sectors, because it's Europa, the moon. No, I did say the moon. Europa, moon.
Yeah, Europa.
Yeah, I guess it is 3.
Nessus.
My brain, I just kept thinking there was more than that.
3.
My brain is dumb.
There's always more.
I'll find the entry. Oh, I found it. It's Europa 3. So basically, this is what the Cryptarch Matsuo says. And basically, they were talking about how the Headless Ones might be, spontaneous creation of similar legends. So like how, in the Himalayas, there's, the Yetis, and then, in Pacific Northwest, there's, Bigfoot. They're very similar things. But what the Cryptarch uses as examples are quite funny. I'll read it verbatim. For the Yetis of the Himalayan folklore and the lumbering jacks of North American legend, both reclusive ape-like creatures said to populate the wilderness. Or the centaurs of Greek mythology and the sheepdog of Northern Europe, both mythical creatures said to be hybrids of other species, etc. So yes, it is interesting that many cultures have stories of the Headless Ones, but that doesn't prove that they exist. I just thought it was so funny that that in the city time that they look at, what we think as folklore, so Yetis, and then stuff that's like common day things like lumberjacks. They're like, oh no, those are both legends. Those are both mythology.
I feel like it's definitely this like amalgamation of like legends and stuff for any of our international listeners, the non-American listeners. So in America, we have some like folk legends about giants. So specifically, you have John Henry, and you also have Paul Bunyan, who's comes from a similar part of the country that you have those Bigfoot legends, the Pacific Northwest, and that's sort of like Western expansion era of America. So it's really funny that. Because I read it, I kind of feel like they combine the two. And it's like, oh, so you got like this giant lumberjack
I just think
guy.
It's really funny.
He lives reclusively in the woods.
Sheepdog, like sheepdogs are a real thing, but like they might be extinct by the time of the City Age, so they might be like the weird kind of things. Like for example, another great example is, like, in medieval times, there would be legends of, like, dragons and stuff. Obviously, dragons aren't real, but you know what is real? Dinosaurs. So they could have, like, found dinosaur bones and been like, oh my god, look at this big, giant skeleton. It must have been a dragon. A legendary dragon used to roam these parts. Like, if you look at a lot of, like, folklore and that sort of thing, a lot of it can actually be, like, I guess there is, like, a scientific reason behind it. Like, obviously, dragons and giants and those sort of things aren't real, but there were, like, giant sloths that are now extinct, and dinosaurs, like, those kind of things, like, existed, but you don't really know, like, when you first find them, you're like, I don't know what this is. It might be this, it might be that, you know? And then, like, the legend kind of grows. So, I just think this is really cool. I just like this. There's, like, so many little, like, lore.
I like it. It makes me. Well, with them getting stuff mixed up, it makes me look at our own reflections on like antiquity, and I think you had a really good story, an anecdote you were sharing with me. Not an anecdote, but you had a really good story about what was it that
Yeah,
Punt, the
basically,
the ally of
yeah,
ancient Egypt that no one knows
yeah,
where it was because they
basically,
never wrote it down.
yeah, there was, yeah, basically there was this place, it was called Punt, and no one knows where it is, what it is. Basically, it was a trading partner of ancient Egypt, and they, ancient Egypt gave them, or traded with them, all sorts of, like, really highly prized possessions, like gold, animal skins, ivory, spices, really, like, that's, like, really important stuff in, like, ancient Egyptian culture. And no one knows where this place is. It doesn't exist. And because in ancient Egypt, it was such common knowledge, like, oh, everyone knows where Punt is, it's wherever it is. It wasn't ever written down because it was such common knowledge. And now, us looking back, we're just like, where is it? Where's Punt? No one knows. It's just stuff like that. I just think it's great.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Yeah, I really enjoyed
Yeah.
Glint's journey through all the different people. So from what is it? He starts off on Europa, and then from Europa, there's also a guardian whose name has been redacted that everyone's like
He saw
laughing
the
at because he
Headless
says he
Ones,
sees
and everyone
the
was
headless ones.
like,
He reports it back.
bruh, you're
Yeah,
insane. You're crazy. Even at the end of it, he's like, I don't know what I saw,
it's a bit
but
of
I'm
a
going to
joke
submit
around the
myself
tower,
to psychological evaluation because clearly I'm on drugs.
right? Right? It's a little. He was willing to
Yeah. Yeah,
put it
definitely,
up to
definitely.
scrutiny. He was willing to be like, hey,
I might be crazy.
I might
Yeah.
be.
But
Let's see.
then later on, as you go through the lore book, it looks to me as if we kind of have a answer to what the Headless Ones are. What do you think? Uh,
I think we do too. I think you get it hinted at from or sort of surmised from one source.
the Techian. Yeah.
Yalia, the Techian, yeah. And I really love her interaction with Glint in it. This is in one of the Luna books. But she's like, yeah, there's a necromancer who like will remain unnamed, and Glint just like totally breaks the Voldemort rule and just goes, oh
And
yeah,
I can literally
Nacris.
just picture
Like she's like,
the Techian. She just turns and looks at Glint, and she's just like, yes, Nocris. She's like, I didn't want to say his name, but sure, I guess. Yeah, Nocris is cool.
Nacris.
Nocris, I think, like, in, like, the lore, I think Nocris is probably one of my favorite characters, because he's really interesting, because his father, Oryx, the Taken King, was like, this is how we do things in my house, and Nocris was like, I'm not as cool as my brother, or as smart as my sisters, I'm kind of just gonna do my own thing, and he went directly to the Worm Gods, and was like, yo, give me power, my dudes. And all of the Worm Gods were like, bruh, you're weak. Why would we do that? And then Oryx hears about this and he's like, son, what did I tell you? There are rules that you follow and you broke the rules.
I am upset.
So, get out. You're banished. You're banished.
Banish this man.
You're banished.
You start breaking his statues. His statues are coming down. We don't honor banished
Pretty much. And then
people.
it's really interesting that, he, all record of Nokris got axed from the Books of Sorrow, from literally everything, except for the one statue in the Dreadnought. And I would really hope that one day, we find what was axed from the Books of Sorrow that talked about Nokris. I think that would have been cool, so then we get, a complete Book of Sorrows. I mean, what we have is good, but it'd be cool if we got, the parts that were, after Nokris did his heresy. If we could have those entries back. It also would be cool if we got the Books of Sorrow from, Savathun's perspective, or Xivu Arath's, because, as Savathun did say in the Books of Sorrow, this book is made of lies. It's fake. It's basically religious text that makes Nokris, sorry. It's religious text that makes Oryx seem favorable. I mean, it makes sense. But it's just interesting to see what the truth, air quotes, is. What really happened. If that is fake. Or, well, bending of the truth. Which, I just think that's kind of funny. Yes.
It could definitely be the case.
Because then...
Yeah. Could
from the
looks
be the
case.
Of basically the whole Tales of the Forgotten, TLDR, the Headless Ones were, I guess, Nokris and some of his other wizard people. Wizards? What is it? Yeah.
Well, he was the only one.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing about his power structure. He's the only one that's not like a husk, that he's basically controlling through this forbidden art of necromancy. And because so if for everyone listening, I'm gonna just do a really oversimplistic Lucy.
It's okay.
I know you.
Okay.
I hope I do it justice. But if you think of the Hive as like this pyramid scheme that classically led up to Oryx, and then below him you had every Hive like cascading out that we had encountered up to that point, all the way down to the Thrall, right? Ascendant ones are paying tribute, but ipso facto, like just imagine it that way, as this cascading tree. And what we did that was so devastating is we cut that structure out from underneath him, Oryx, and that's how we were able to kill the Hive God, the Ascendant Hive God. Now, what Nokris did was he decided, man, fuck this multi-level marketing.
I mean, you're not wrong. He's like, this isn't, I don't like this pyramid scheme. This is kind of shady. I mean, I don't know about this. I kind of want to do my own thing. So he kind of...
That's what he says.
Yeah. He basically dips out and basically kind of makes his own pyramid scheme, which is kind of ironic.
But what's genius about it, in my view, and tell me if you agree, is because he uses necromancy, it's kind of like, instead of multi-level marketing, he just went to the wholesaler. It's just him and his worm, and they're in control of everything that some extension of them kills, feeds his worm, and that's how he gets it done. And so it's like if the Hive structure, that pyramid scheme, could also be relayed as like, the classic brick and mortar chain stores.
Yeah.
Nokris went out and was like, nah, I'm Amazon.
I'm Amazon now. Haha.
Yeah.
But what the Techian says that's really interesting is that during humanity's golden age, quote, it was a time when many attempted to subvert the laws of life and death, like Clovis Bray, as well as the faction of the Hive. Bray used the tools of the Vex, while the Hive blasphemers practiced the magical art of necromancy. Both succeeded after a fashion. So I just think that's really interesting that it's about life and death and upsetting that balance of death and life and that sort of thing. I just think that's really interesting because, like, there's a natural order to things, and being paracausal or
Right.
trying to subvert, like what Clovis Bray was doing, he was trying to, like, extend his life indefinitely, but not die. And the Hive were basically taking people who died and bringing them back and bringing them back and bringing them back over and over and over. Like, that's not natural, obviously.
I mean, in a way, because of the gate of entry to being an exo, if exos have personhood, which I think we all agree that they
Yeah.
do, he made something that you can bring back over and over again,
Yeah,
just
so it's
like
just
the
so I guess you
like
could
Nocris
say
was.
that exos are basically humanity's versions of Hive necromancy.
Ooh,
You could
ooh,
technically make that claim,
and they
maybe.
call it the Guardian zombies.
Yeah, I think exos are more zombies than guardians. I mean, because guardians, they still need to eat and sleep, and
Exo Guardians are
ex.
double
I
zombies.
guess exo guardians are zombies squared because they're
Oh
zombies.
man, just a little too above their exo emblem.
Yes, but I just think it's really interesting about.
So, oh, I'm sorry.
So does that mean with this? Does that mean that Nocris was on the moon? Then?
I think it does, and I think it ties some other lore that didn't really seem to fit anywhere
Yeah.
together in kind of a neat little bow. Like if we go back to Destiny 1, and I think it's Ghost Fragments, like the moon, like 1 or 2, but it's the one that references this giant worm creature, and then there's also a reference of it's almost like it reminded me of the movie. I think there's a book too, but it reminded me of Tremors,
Yeah.
which was those are like the underground guys, the little like horror movie or thriller, maybe I guess is a better. I don't know how scary it is, but yeah. Anyway, um, it was it reminded me of that, and it didn't really seem to fit anywhere. Like I remember back in D1, there was a lot of conjecture that maybe that was like a hive worm, or that was like an ahamkara,
Yeah.
or there was a lot of different ideas, but it didn't quite fit either 100% right. The ahamkara seem to, that's not really their mo. They don't really rampage. They delight in more. What's the word? They just delight in
Yeah,
different
it's
forms of
Ghost
consumption,
Fragment,
like
The Ocean of Storms 2 is what it is.
Ocean of Storms too. Okay, thank you,
Yeah.
thank you. Um, and I think this also connecting with really what the nightmares even are.
Yeah.
All the way up into gosh, what was that? What was that? Shadowkeep?
Yeah.
Was that released right?
Yeah, Shadowkeep was when we
Yeah,
got
all the way
the
up into that.
nightmares and that sort of things.
Yeah, I think it not only connects them, but it explains what they are. I think it kind of puts it in a nice little bow
Yeah, so basically, I guess
on Bunky's
Nocris
part.
and some of his heretical hive were on the moon for a little bit.
His droogs.
Does that mean Nocris was on the moon before Crota was? Or were they there at the same time and didn't even know it?
Well, I mean, that's the thing. If this pyramid ship has been inside the moon, if Crota's throne world has been inside the moon, and there's been hive activity inside the moon this whole time, to the point that you have Crota's daughters also interacting with not only the darkness but with the nightmares that now we know Nokris
Yeah.
is the initial source of. I Yeah, they've been there the whole time, or at least as long as we've
Yeah.
been there.
I just think that's really crazy, cause the hive themselves, they can't really, if I remember correctly, they can't create the nightmares per se. They can't use like nightmare magic, or they can only use soul fire. That's because they get their power through the worm gods, and the worm gods get their power through the darkness. So it's like this again, a pyramid scheme inside of a pyramid scheme inside of a pyramid scheme. That's the Hive in a nutshell. They're multi-level marketing, but bugs, basically. And
space shrimps.
yeah. The basically the gist is I totally lost my train of thought. Brain empty.
Well, I can round off until it comes back to you. I I I really got to hand it to Bungie on that part there. It ties it all together, and then as you move on into Nessus, you have Glint moving on and greeting Failsafe.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Who and it's so genius that he thinks to go there. She's been a functioning AI since the Golden Age.
Yes. Makes sense.
So he goes and he starts questioning her, and there's some other interesting lore in there too, guys. I don't wanna spoil for you, but he goes on questioning her, and at the end of that interaction, it's pretty funny. I gotta say, she has some sassy bits that I really enjoyed. What was it? I now have a betrayal.
Yes,
Routine just because of you.
Yeah, it was just really funny because like no one. It's like even in canon that like because a lot of what happens in Destiny in our time, like releases is like about a 1-to-1 ish with what's happening like in universe. So Failsafe's like, yeah, no one's come and visited me for over 2 years. Thanks. I'm so lonely. You all suck. And it's just kind of funny to me because like we haven't had a reason to go visit Failsafe. So of course we're not like until a story reason pops up for us to go back to Nessus. I honestly was surprised that Nessus wasn't the thing that was getting vaulted instead of the Tangled Shore. Because I mean, yeah, there's the Proving Ground strike, but that's not us interacting with Failsafe. That's just, yeah.
Yeah, it's it's really you kind of appreciate it too because you can always have that due to the nature of the game. If you like miss something and you come back and you're talking with your friends and they're like catching you up, you can just be like, "No, I was off. My guardian was off doing something else."
Yeah.
Like I'm catching up on stuff now. But I do like that sort of recognition. It's almost like a tongue-in-cheek joke about when's the last time they used this asset. But I think this might be actually a hint.
Maybe. Yeah.
Here's some real life Spinfoil theory that I think as you were saying earlier. I think before we started recording was this is going to lead to something. I think on Nessus or have Nessus have relevance again because I think your point was that it's surprising that they didn't sunset it of all places.
Yeah. I'm curious. I'm curious to see how all this is gonna play out because with the Tangled Shore being sunset, does that mean canonically that Fickrell is finally permanently dead? Did we kill him enough times he comes back as a giant screeb and then he blows up? That'd be funny. That honestly would be funny. Because that's what happens with Scorn is if they keep resurrecting over and over and over and over and over and over and over, they eventually turn to a screeb. Because they just can't handle the repeated resurrections. Which reminds me of this unreleased lore book that one of the narrative people at Bungie wrote, but it wasn't. Part of it's canon now, part of it's not, with Zavala having a wife and everything. But there was this one part where this warlock was going crazy because they've got resurrected so many times by their ghost, and they literally went crazy. Like, I think they gotten rezzed over 10,000 times. Which is, I look at how many times I've died in total, and I'm like, oh no, are my guardians gonna go crazy now? Like, because that kind of stuff hasn't really been explored before. Like, is there a downside to being resurrected so many times? Can that even happen? Is that okay? Like, we don't know.
Yeah, I don't. Outside of Exos, you don't really even hear about that. It's almost like a joke
I mean, yeah, it's
if when a guardian falls on something
reminds me
or something
of
falls on a guardian.
when Anna Bray went to the space station, and there was that exo that had been reset like 1,000 times, and they were like batshit crazy. Like, I wonder if that doesn't happen to Guardians because we're paracausal and we have the ghost. Like, the ghost helps us, like grounds us, maybe, so to speak. If that makes any sense. Otherwise, we would go crazy. Or maybe there is some insane amount limit that Guardians do have for resurrections, and no one's reached that big giant number yet. Which is kind of scary.
Hmm.
We'll just have to see, I guess.
Oofed. Yeah. Well, I mean, and it's really funny because you notice, like, even if they have their ghosts, the older guardians don't seem to be very action oriented.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
you have Osiris, you have Saladin, and like Drifter. Like, don't seem to be really like itching to get out there.
Yeah, it seems like definitely that, like, younger Guardians. I say younger, like us, our generation
Hmm.
of Guardians, are much more active, and then we have like the lead. I mean, obviously the older guard, they would act as like mentorship, so they don't really go out into the field as
Yeah.
much anymore. They more, I guess, oversee what we're doing and making sure we're not making the same mistakes that they did. But um
Mm.
I don't know. It's really interesting, I think.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely want to see where they all where they all go with that. So I'm gonna shift gears a little bit. So, guys, now that we've kind of given an overview of what the headless ones are, and very cool, uh, very cool, like sort of implications and connections there. But if you look at that's not the only bits of lore that come and try to explain this, and between some of the two, especially with the in-game dialogue, there was some stuff, some red herrings, you might say, that we wanted to debunk
Yes.
just just before anyone gets their hopes up because they heard it in the game. Because I mean, in this case, I think well, yeah, someone telling you a story of something that happened to them doesn't make you hearing it secondhand. It doesn't make that like reliable info. But yeah, one that comes to mind is when you come in that when you first log into the haunted lost sectors, which are really fun, by the way. If you haven't tried them yet, please do. You'll dig it, I think. Um, Glint is talking about the headless ones, and let me see. I just want to pull up the one exactly that he does. Yes, and now if when you log into the Nessus one and you do the Fallen, where is it? He he talks about I heard about this place from other ghosts. They told me I should investigate it for my research. Rumor has it that long ago a fire team was captured here and beheaded by the Fallen, and now the Guardians' headless bodies roll around trying to snatch up new ghosts like me. And it says legend has it in another one. Legends say that headless ones are endlessly searching for their lost ghosts. If Crow ever lost me, he'd search tirelessly, and it kind of implies that another one says, the other ghosts say that if the Headless Ones capture me, they'll force me to resurrect them, probably with new, very attractive heads. I don't know if that's true or not, but I don't want to find out. It's all really cute, but I just want to kind of stress they are teasing him.
Yeah.
That is not. Ghosts can't resurrect other guardians. So I just want to, I want to put that out there. That's why this is like a legend, like a campfire story, type of thing. Like kind of like spooky spoopy, a little like crossover there, but so please do not think that there's some chance you could get another ghost to resurrect
Yes.
fallen guardians.
Yes. It's really interesting, I guess. It's like, it all kind of fits together. Because, like, Failsafe explains, uh, that Nokris basically ripped the concept of the Headless Ones from the human subconscious. And
Yeah.
so basically, Nokris messed with these people and um, extracted basically the symbology of the pumpkins. And how Nokris is like, well, I see this pumpkin symbology means death, so if I used, so that must mean, like, in the hive, a symbol, like, actually, like, means something in, like, a, how do I explain it? But, like, if,
It's like let me know here. It kind of reminds me of when you talk about like older mythologies, like really older ones, names have a lot of power.
yeah,
Kind of like in Rumpelstiltskin,
yeah,
I guess is like a maybe like a more like modern sort of like a legacy of that. But it reminds me of that. Just like there's like a lot of power in symbols with the hive.
yeah. So, kind of like that. So Nokris was like, okay, this pumpkin symbology that I keep seeing referenced in human subconscious about the dead. And since I'm a necromancer, I'm gonna
Yeah,
use that. That sounds like a cool
it's
thing.
wild. Well,
It's just like it's
it
so
kind of
crazy.
reminds me,
Like,
yeah, that he pulls the nightmares and the threat. Because I mean, I'm sure there's some obvious out of game nod to the headless horseman, but like it just really makes it interesting that that's how the hive arrived at pumpkin heads for
I know it's
for,
kind of like
for these undead knights.
it's just like, yes, pumpkin heads. That's what we're gonna go with.
What I really like, gosh, what was the event? Because was there an event back in D1 where they first introduced the jackalites, or
Uh,
maybe that was just one of the original heads, the original masks. Let me see here.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, it was one of the
Wasn't that one of the consumables in?
yeah, and it put the oh, that's so funny. That makes sense of Cade's story now. In in the lore, Cade says he's shooting them in heads, and they're like exploding everywhere.
That's right. Yes, the jackalite is that creates a three-eyed pumpkin head. Huh. And now we have a three-eyed pumpkin head. That's
Mm-hmm.
funny.
Nice. Nice D1 reference. I guess that was one time Cade got to leave the tower and go in the crucible.
He's like, for once.
Finally. It's my time. No one's paying attention. I'm
Exactly.
gonna go. They won't know it's me. They'll think I'm just wearing a mask. Oh man. So there's that one, and there's a couple. Where's and just little stuff like that. Um,
It all ties
that
together.
that yeah, that it all ties together. So you don't have to worry about well, like Cade killed them too, but it you can kind of explain it with past in-game events.
Yeah, definitely.
So just little stuff like that. Uh, not to not to like too much worry about. What's interesting to me is they only seem to be coming after humans.
Yeah.
They don't go after the Elixni. They don't go after Failsafe. Like they don't bother her. And it's really interesting that they're human specific nightmares. So I think this kind of answers some of the other questions that we had about whether or not these nightmares are the same for everyone on the moon. I bet they're like different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really interesting.
Yeah. So that's a little wild to me. I guess we know that version of Tanix is not actually Tanix though.
That's good to hear, I think.
But in that way, he might be immortal.
Oh no.
Well, I guess he can't be even more immortal than he already is because he's like an AI now.
Oh no.
He's the ghost in the shell.
Oh no. Not a Ghost in the Shell reference.
I know, right? That's what it's all been leading up to. That's all been
Yeah.
leading. to. Um, so I am really digging it. Uh, did you have any that you had noticed,
Um,
Lucy? Did you have any things that you wanted to point out, maybe?
I just thought it was funny that lumberjacks and sheepdogs are now things of legend in the Destiny universe. I just think that's fun.
Legendary
The
sheepdogs.
Legend of Sheepdog.
The legend of sheepdogs. I really, yeah, that makes me really happy, actually. um, it reminds me of gosh, it was not like a, it was one of those things back on when I think when it was the Science Channel, or I don't know, I saw it in school, but it was this like educated guess thing about like what would happen, and it doesn't say like why, but it's like what if like every human on Earth was just like snapped
Oh
and
no.
just gone. Not like bodies everywhere, but like what would happen to Earth? Like if like all our stuff was just like as we left it. And it goes through and it gets to like what would happen to domesticated pets. And it gets into this thing about how like, that might be like pack oriented or whatever, but it's gonna be like that mid sized dog
Yeah.
that's gonna be like the winner. Like that's the one that's gonna be like just fast enough to get away from everything, but like big enough to kind of assert itself. So it a very specific breed of dog, like a sheepdog. I I just kind of like that. There's like even little silly stuff like that might be a little like based in science or like scientific conjecture in some way.
Possibly.
Oh man, I really liked uh I really liked how Glint when he's visiting Eris and he sits there and she's talking about like all the different stuff that she's seen and he's like, "Oh geez.
Yes, that part was so
Wow."
funny. He's like, wow, that sounds really scary. And she's like, but I have never,
Oh
ever
man.
seen a hive knight with a pumpkin for a head. You've gone crazy.
I like how she like definitely asserts that she would have remembered.
Yes, I would have remembered.
I would have remembered. That is a very specific thing that we
Exactly.
can be going into. So, ooh, I'm sorry. Ugh. So it's also very interesting too. One thing that this also ties together is if when you go into some of the other lost sectors, like a K1 or or some of them. Glint actually talks about them discovering the anomaly, and that being the beginning of the strange creatures like roaming everywhere, like all the way back to the D1 cards.
Yeah.
So don't worry too much, guys, about it being like too spooky. I actually really appreciate that they're taking time within the holiday event to explain so much.
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely.
Yeah. I like how they start off, and as you read the stuff too, they go from like this spooky thing, and then Glint just starts like kind of treating them like spooky pinatas.
They're spooky pinatas.
They're filled with loot. Beat them up.
Yeah.
Oh man.
It's pretty funny though. It definitely kind of feels like the whole event is like a crazy fever dream.
Mm-hmm.
Like before I'd read all the lore and just heard about the pumpkin heads, my first initial thing was that the candy we were eating is causing us to have hallucinations, and that's why we're seeing all of this. That was my first thought, and now that there's actually lore behind it, I'm like, you know what? This makes a lot more sense.
I don't know. I know I'm older. I'm older than you, Lucy. But I don't know if it was like this. I remember when I was growing up, it was like on the news all the time, and my parents would be like, "Yeah, don't eat homemade candy
Oh,
that
that's
you get when you go out
right.
on Halloween.
Yeah.
It could be something in it." And I think
Oh
like
no.
no, I think in real life that's either never happened or it like almost happened, but no one actually like ate the dangerous thing.
Yeah.
Uh, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's like this like ingrained to all this stuff, and then you have Ava just like not eating the random candy that you got from
Yeah.
these
It's just like,
undead necrotic hive. No, not for me. But then I also have to wonder, well, okay, but then why is she exchanging like masks and pieces and pages of the lore book for it? Like, is she selling the candy to the necrotic hive? Is it
exactly.
all one
Like
cyclical
how
money
are
making
they?
scheme?
How are they? How are they?
Where are they getting the candy
Where
from?
are they? Are they just stealing it from Evil Levante? Is that what is happening? Why
Is the
candy?
candy part
Where
of
is
the
it coming
nightmare?
from?
she's,
Is she a nightmare?
she's
There we
collecting all
go.
the she's collecting all the candy now so that at the dawning she'll have enough like sugar and stuff to make all the cookies.
Ah, I see, I see.
Unless no, I think those parts also come from dead enemies.
You,
Yeah, I think she's
yes,
just
you might.
funneling them all.
Oh no,
like a
it's all a
cyclical.
big peer. It's all a big scheme. It's a money. It's a not a money laundering scheme. It's a candy laundering scheme. Oh no,
Bamboozled again.
we've been bamboozled.
Oh man, it happens. It happens. It'd be like that sometimes. Ah, well. Oh man. Let's see. Was there anything else you wanted to cover for the Festival of the Lost and the new Tales of the Lost lore book?
I don't think so. I think we covered everything.
Nice, nice, excellent, excellent. Well, Lucy, do you have any shout outs?
Any shout outs? I
Yeah,
guess shout out to my boss for being super cool and giving me time to like move and stuff and not be super hard on like deadlines and everything. So
awesome.
that's been nice.
Take it. That is really cool. It's really important to have a boss who gives you that sort of room for work life balance.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely, and it's definitely noticed when well, if you're like me and you came from a lot of different careers where you didn't necessarily have that, so is that a lot of different jobs. So yeah, that was great. That's great to hear. Um, my shout out this week is going to be to the Truth Bearers, the super serial, super secret. Uh, no. It is very high level. Discord we are lucky enough to be a part of
Heck
from
yeah.
our friend Let Us Different. Um, and user, I guess you shared it was a Eruge. I think that's how you pronounce it. But big shout out to them. That's how we got a lot of the dialogue that we've referenced tonight.
Yeah,
That's
definitely,
in
because they've
game.
been compiling it all, which has been really nice.
Yeah. So big shout out to you guys and all that you do for the pursuit of the truth. Doo-doo-doo. All right, that's enough though. I won't get
Do-do-do-do-do.
sued. I can start the doo doo. Yeah, I can only do that many doo doos. It's just enough to where they can't come at me for it. Yeah, but yeah, big shout out to those guys. I don't always have time to comment, but whenever I have time to kind of read through what you guys are talking about, it always blows my mind. So big shout out there. Um, and ooh, Lizzie, I forgot to ask. How are you enjoying that dinosaur outfit?
I don't have the dinosaur armor. I think it looks kind of interesting. I think
Were
certain.
you Team Monster?
I wasn't team either. I didn't care.
Oh, okay.
I just was like, they both look very silly, so my vote is neither. It won't matter. I know everyone was gonna pick Team Dino anyway. Because, like, it's dinosaurs. Dinosaurs are cool. But, I don't know. I think, like, bits and pieces of the armor would look good. I'm not sure if I'm actually gonna, like, go out of my way and get the armor, though. That's where I'm kind of
That's
like,
true.
I mean, I posted a picture in, like, our group chat where someone took the Warlock armor, which I think looks the worst out of all three, and they used a different helmet and they shaded it nice, and it actually looked really cool. So I'm like, that's interesting.
Oh, that's really funny. I want to put that helmet on. I want to make a Triceraton from Ninja Turtles. So I want to put that helmet on my Warlock and just like get them all like teched out. That's my own nerd dream though. That's ever since I saw that one. The only one I already got the Utah Raptor one for the hunters, but I'm like debating on how I want to go after the other one, and I don't know if I'll go after all three. But then I look at the Titan one, I was like, okay, but that's pretty sweet. It's a T Rex.
Yeah, the T Rex one looks pretty good. So that's why I'm kind of like, maybe, but I don't know.
Yeah, I'm gonna make it all red, and I'll do a Power Rangers reference.
Oh no.
Oh yeah, it's going to be my life. Oh, but yeah. Well, I think that's gonna be fun, and I really, guys, if you see Lady Lucida in the wild, just prepare for your eyes to burn during the event. She has the brightest costume I've ever
Ah,
seen, but well done.
yes. Yes, I posted it
Well
on
done.
Twitter, and I was just like, I wasn't kidding when I said I am bright. I did that as a joke, because, like, Lucida, that word means the brightest star in the constellation. I truly
Hmm.
am the brightest star, because I'm very, very bright. Hint, Gambit Jadestone on everything is very bright. It's beautiful.
Yeah, it's very bright on a lot of stuff. Just retina burningly so. You got to take that look into Crucible and just burn. Like they won't be able to shoot at you because their eyes will just be burning the whole time.
Yes, that's my whole job is to burn people's eyeballs in the crucible. I want them to see me and they're just like, "Oh God, I can't shoot," and then they miss. That's the whole
I
point.
mean, I kind of agree. It's their fault for looking directly at
Yeah,
you
I should have a big warning label above it that says, "Do not look directly at me."
without proper eye protection. Only way. Okay. Well, with that, everyone, thank you for joining us again this week. I hope you enjoyed this episode. We got more coming your way. Really excited for what we got coming down the pike uh, for you now. Now, once we get our lives a little like mutually settled down. But Lucy, I can't tell you, I'm so excited to be in the same time zone.
Yeah, that'll be really, really weird. It'll be really weird for me, honestly, because I'm so used to being like Bungie time. So whenever Bungie says, "Oh, it's 10 a.m.," I'm like, "Sweet, that's 10 a.m. That's great." By the time I'm all up and ready, it's good. But no, now reset is at noon.
One.
1. Ew, that's so
Yeah.
gross. That's like half the day. And that means the twab comes out even later. No!
Mm-hmm.
I hate this.
Mm-hmm. Hate it and you're thoroughly unhappy.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. But yeah, that's gonna be fun. So exciting things, everyone, and you know, you're great. Do something nice for yourself. Drink water. Stay hydrated.
Heck yeah,
See you
gamers.
next time. Bye bye.
Toodles. That's off, Guardians. That's it for this week's discussion. Have any questions or comments about this episode? You can reach out to us on Twitter at Spinfoil Theory, or write us an email at spinfoiltheory@gmail.com. If you'd like to read our show notes, check out articles, listen to past episodes, and more, be sure to pay us a visit over at our website, spinfoiltheory.com.
The Lore Network.